What if every single problem you have, everyone, is actually the same kind of problem underneath it? And what if there was one tool that worked on all of them? That's not an exaggeration. Today, I'm going to show you why all problems are thought problems. And once you see that, you'll never be stuck in the same way again. Welcome to Create Your Best Empty Nest, episode 21, How to Solve Any Problem. Okay, so stay with me here because I know that sounds like a big promise. All problems are thought problems, and I want you to earn that claim today. So let me show you what I mean. You have a problem right now, and maybe it's a relationship with an adult child, or with your spouse or a friend, or maybe you just don't know what you want next and you just feel stuck, or maybe you're just kind of feeling like something's off and you're not sure what to do next. So here's what most of us do. We try to change the circumstances. We think if that person will change. And the problem is never actually about the circumstances. It's about what's happening inside your head. And that means the solution is always within your reach. That's really good news because you are in charge of your own mind. So today we're going to talk about 5 parts of the model. It's simple to understand and super powerful to use. And I'm going to walk you through each one using a personal example and lots of stories to help you see exactly how it can work in real life. What I'm going to teach you is something I use in every coaching session, and it works on every problem. And I mean that. The model was developed by Brooke Castillo, founder of the Life Coach School, and it was taught to me by my mentor and certifying coach, Jody Moore. And both of them call it the way to solve any problem. And after coaching real women with real hard stuff, I agree completely. So I have yet to sit across from someone with a problem that the model doesn't apply. If you think you have one, go ahead and sign up for a free Next Chapter Jumpstart call at MarianneIverson/call, and let's test it out together. So the big idea underneath this is that all pain and suffering are caused by our thoughts, not our circumstances, not what our kids do or don't do, not that the house is quiet or that you're lonely. Our thoughts about those things. So we think we're just reacting to life. We're actually reacting to the story we're telling about our life. And that is the best news because you can't always change circumstances. We know that. Logically, we know that. But you can always work with your thoughts. And so let me walk you through these 5 parts. The first part of the model is your circumstances or the facts. And you want to get it as facty as possible. So a fact is provable in a court of law. It's neutral. There's no change to it. It could be the weather, like it was 78 degrees yesterday. It could be the exact words someone said. And that's really important because sometimes you'll be like, and they did this and they said this and they said this. But you want to get the exact words down of what someone said. It could be exactly the number you weigh. So you want it to be as facty as possible to really gain traction on it. And so facts are boring. They don't have a story yet. And your brain is about to change that. So your brain doesn't hand you facts. It hands you facts with a story already attached. Your job is to learn to separate them. So here's an example. My youngest daughter moved out in July. That's the fact. Okay. But notice my brain would say, she moved out too early. I wasn't expecting her to move out until mid-August when school started, but she got a job and moved out in July. This is last year. And my brain attached the story. She moved out too early, 6 weeks before I thought she was going to. I lost time with her. And that distinction matters more than almost anything else I'll say today. Okay, so before my brain says, my situation is my problem, my circumstances, the facts, they are my problem. Why did my daughter move out 6 weeks early and she moved out of the house and I'm so lonely? 2, after is the situation is just the starting point. It's just the information. It's boring. It's neutral. What I do with the circumstances and the facts is up to me. So here's your practical take-home tip. Write down your problem. Just write it down. Whatever it is, be as specific as possible. A specific situation, a specific time someone said something, a specific number, very specific. And ask what here is actually probably objectively true. Fact as possible and strip everything else away. That's your fact. Okay. Lots of times people just merge those facts and the thoughts. My daughter moved out in July, and then my thought was, it was too early. I wasn't ready for that. I'm so lonely. It's so quiet here. See the difference? Okay. So the part 2 is your thoughts. And remember, this is the part that you have control over. This is the part that will change everything. So the thought is the meaning that your brain assigns to the fact, to the circumstance. Two people can have the exact same fact, the exact same circumstance, and they'll think completely different things about it. That's really important to remember. Your brain is doing this constantly, putting a story to the facts. Automatically, your lower brain does that. And you're not usually conscious of that thinking. It's not happening in your intentional mind, and it's running on default in your lower brain. So your lower brain is running on old programming that it's done over and over again, the same roads over and over again, and patterns you've had for years and sometimes even decades. Okay, so like I said, the circumstance could be exactly the same. And here's an example. The first weekend that I had after my kids had all moved out, I was an empty nester and my husband went out of town. And I was home alone all weekend. And my thoughts were like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to be so lonely. Wow, there was going to be no one to talk to. And I was thinking like that. And I was talking to a friend and she said, that sounds amazing. Same fact. I was home alone for 3 days, exact same circumstance, two completely different thoughts about that. Do you see how that could be? Okay, so those thoughts are on a playlist on shuffle that you never choose and never really questioned before. And when my daughter moved out and you feel that gut punch of loneliness and you don't just sit down and you decide, think, I'm not needed anymore. Your brain just hands you that thought automatically, instantly. And you've probably been walking around believing that your thoughts are just the truth. Most of us never stop to look at them. That's what the model does. It pulls the thought out of the shadows and it puts it right in front of you so you can actually do something with it. And once you can see it, you can decide if you want to keep it. Awareness really is the first step. And here's what most people want to do the second they learn this model. They immediately want to change the thought. They're like, oh, if I choose the thought, I'm going to just change it right here. And that's not the first step. Remember, awareness is the first step. Just to notice it, just to see it, just to sit with it for a minute. Be aware, oh, my thought that my daughter moved out too soon is causing me to feel lonely, and just to sit with it. That's the thought I've been thinking. And that's what's been creating this in my life. The moment of awareness alone is more powerful than you think. Don't rush past it. You can't change something until you've fully seen it, fully taken it out of the shadow. So before you swap the thought out, get conscious about it first. Ask yourself, why am I choosing this thought? Because you are, it's a choice. And what triggers it? Was it a time of day that it gets louder? Is it in the evening? Is it on the weekends? A situation that brings up every time? Ask yourself, what if it just isn't true? If I'm spending so much energy on this thought, what am I not creating because of it? This question loosens the thought grip and without forcing you to take a positive one that you don't believe quite yet. So awareness is first, and then you ask those questions. Then the thought starts to shift on its own. Okay. So that approach gives you so much more traction in the long run. So it can be the same fact, circumstance is the same. My daughter moved out in July and completely different thoughts once you think through it a little bit. And here's the real example that stopped me in my tracks. My thought was, I'm lonely. I'm going to be home alone all weekend. What am I going to do all weekend? I mentioned this to a friend with a house full of kids. And she didn't skip a beat. She says, that sounds amazing. Same circumstance, completely different thought. Neither of us was wrong. We were just thinking differently about the exact same fact. And that's when it clicked for me. I could decide. I could choose what I eat all weekend. I could choose what I watch all weekend. I could choose whether to take a bath or read a book or watch a movie or do absolutely nothing. I could choose the chick flick that I wanted. Nobody needed me to do anything. And instead of being lonely, it could be freedom. That's the moment I realized you don't just have thoughts, you can choose them. So one way to start shifting a painful thought that you have is to ask yourself, is this normal? Is this natural? Is this age appropriate? And when my daughter was leaving, when I stopped and asked that honestly, Yes, of course it is. It's completely age appropriate that she moves out for a young woman to go out to the world and start her next chapter. In fact, I wanted her to. I raised her to do that. And sometimes I thought, wow, I did too good of a job of this because she just was like, peace out. I'm out of here. But when I actually let myself think that thought, something loosens. You just want to loosen it up a little bit. Nothing has gone wrong here. This is normal. This is natural. And this is supposed to happen exactly like this. Does that mean you don't feel sad? No, of course not. You can hold both. And it can be hard, and this is right. And you can process the grief and recognize that what she's doing is exactly what she's supposed to do. So it's not about pretending it doesn't hurt or just changing the thought. It's not about adding, and something is terribly wrong on top of what hurt there already is. The extra layer is optional, and you can put it down. Okay? Thoughts that may sound familiar to you in this stage of life. I'm not needed anymore. I'm going to do this all wrong. My voice doesn't matter. It's safe here and nothing's on fire, so why would I change anything? I could never do that. She moved on and didn't look back. So practice thinking a new thought. Here's the thing about choosing a new thought. It does take practice. Your brain has been running on those old roads, the very deep trenches for a long time. It's a deeply worn path. And when you choose a new thought, you're basically asking your brain to take a new road. And it's never been down that road before. It's going to resist. The old thought is going to pop back in, and that's not failure. That's just how the brain works. So when it happens, don't fight it. Just acknowledge it. Oh, yeah, we're not going down that road anymore. Remember, we're going down this one. Something like, hey, brain, I see you. I know that's the road we've always been on, but we're going to take a different road now. That gently redirecting to that new thought. So with my daughter, the thought, she disregarded me, kept creeping back. I noticed and say, this is normal. This is natural. This is supposed to happen. And I'm going to build something beautiful with her in this next season. I didn't say it because it felt completely true yet. I said it because I was building a new road. And the more I walked down that road, the easier it got to find it. And practice doesn't mean perfect. It just means you're showing up and choosing that new road again and again and again. And I will have to say, after a full school year, it is like that. It's a beautiful relationship with my daughter. So this is the thought beforehand. This is just how I think, or not even realizing it. It's still in the shadows. To afterwards, realizing this is a thought I've been thinking, and thoughts can change. So here's your practical take-home tip to practice with thoughts. Write down every thought you've had about a certain fact, a certain circumstance. This is called a thought download. And just write down all the different thoughts. Don't filter it. Just get it out of your head and onto paper and see what's actually running the show. Okay, so we started with the fact, the circumstance of just exactly what happened in the world can be proven in a court of law. What you think about that fact is going to dictate how you feel. Okay? And feelings, so that's the third part, is feelings. And feelings are created by your thoughts. That's super important because lots of times I'll ask my clients, why do you feel anxious? Why do you feel overwhelmed? Why do you feel disregarded? And they'll tell me. But it always goes back to what they're thinking. Okay, so your feelings are created by your thoughts, not by what happened, not by the circumstance, not by what your kid did or didn't do, by what you were thinking about what happened. A feeling is one word. It's just a vibration in your body. And it could be like anxious, discouraged, disregarded, overwhelmed, irrelevant, excited. And feelings are not dangerous. They're not wrong. They're just information. Feelings are just the vibration and they won't kill you. So it might feel like a tightness in your chest or pressure or kind of like tight shoulders or a pit in your stomach. Or sometimes my clients feel it in the throat, like almost like they can't say what they want to say. And it's a feeling. It's just the energy moving through your body. Okay. The problem is never the feeling. The problem is what you do to avoid the feelings. A lot of us don't want to feel these feelings. And so you scroll, you eat, you buffer, you stay busy, you fill your calendar with a lot of different things because you don't want to think about what you want to do next or have the quiet house or be alone. And you watch one more episode, you avoid the conversation. But here's what happens when you keep pushing it down. It's like a beach ball. It gets bigger. It gets louder. It takes up more space in your body, not less. Think about that beach ball in that swimming pool. You can't push it under the water, but it just pops back up. It just pops back up. and with more energy, right? Every time. So that's what you're doing with your emotions when you avoid them. But if you let that beach ball just float, it just kind of bobs around for a minute and then it drifts and it passes through. And that's what you can do with your feelings. So I tried this when my mom passed away about a year ago. And I learned this in the best personal way possible. I was in the middle of my coach certification with Jody Moore, and a fellow coach coached me. We were coaching each other to practice. And after a death, of course, with someone that you love, you're going to feel a lot of emotions. And so she coached me through my mom passing. And then she said, why don't you put a timer on your phone every hour to remind you to feel your feelings, to feel whatever's feeling in your body, and then to name it. And that was the best thing I could do. I really felt the emotion. I felt the grief. I processed it. I felt like it just really, really helps me with that time in my life. That's what allowing your emotions does. It lets them complete their cycle instead of setting up permanent resident in your chest. And whatever you're feeling right now about this season of life, you don't have to fix it. You just have to feel it. It won't break you. It will actually set you free. It showed up in my body too. When my daughter moved out and I was living inside that painful story, it showed up physically. And I had a knee injury from an old soccer injury. And when all that emotion had nowhere to go, just building up inside of me, it went straight to my knee. It was crazy. It was like giving out on me, literally. And your body keeps score. And the feelings you don't let yourself feel go somewhere. And so the thought plus the feeling is together is your story. Okay. So we have the circumstance, and then the thought and the feeling is your story of what you're putting towards that circumstance. And the thought feeling combo is what you're living inside of. And it feels so real more than anything else. So before you can think, I shouldn't feel this way. After, this feeling makes complete sense given what I've been thinking, and I'm allowed to feel it all the way through. Here's your practical take home tip. Pick one of the thoughts on your list from your thought download and ask yourself, what does the thought make me feel in my body? Name it. One word. Just notice it. And you don't have to fix it yet. You just feel it. Okay. So your feelings lead to your behaviors or your actions. And your thought feeling story drives everything you do or you don't do. Every single behavior is downstream of how you feel. A lot of people just think, I'm just going to power my way through it. I have willpower. I'm just going to do what I'm going to say, I'm going to do. I'm going to eat what I said I'm going to eat. I'm going to have this hard conversation. I'm just going to power my way through it. And here's the truth. That works for a while, and willpower is real. You can white knuckle through a lot of things, but here's what willpower can't do. It can't change the quality of what you're creating. When your actions come from your feelings that aren't serving you. So it shows up everywhere in the energy, in your tone, in your creation, how you present, how you actually are. But your behavior that comes from emotion, you can do the thing and still be halfway somewhere else in your head. But when your behavior comes from positive emotion, from curiosity, from excitement, from peace, from purpose, from confidence, everything shifts. You're more effective, you're more connected, you're more creative. You get the results that actually stick. Think about two women doing the exact same thing. One showing up out of obligation or anxiety, one showing up out of genuine excitement about her next chapter. Same action, completely different results. That's why we don't just change what we do. We want to change what we're thinking so that what we feel and therefore what we do comes out in a place that actually will work for you. That's not soft. That's strategy. So back to the story with my daughter. When I was sitting in that thought, she disregarded me. She didn't look back. I was not in a headspace to come up with creative ways to stay connected with her now that she didn't live at home anymore, now that she was hours away. And I could not problem solve for that place. My creativity just shut down. And when I did reach out to her, I wasn't in the right headspace either. She could feel that. Kids always can. There's a big difference between reaching out for, why isn't she calling me? Why isn't she texting me back? And reaching out from, I love this person. I'm not going to figure out how to build a relationship in a new way. Same action, completely different energy behind it, completely different result. So willpower might get you to send the text, but it can't make the text feel warm. But when you shift to, I'm going to create this relationship and love her well from a distance. Suddenly, you're curious, you're creative, you're thinking of new ways to connect, and the thought changes, the feeling changes, and now your behavior and your actions actually have a chance to getting you what you want. Behaviors from a painful story might look like this. You're checking your child's location constantly, watching the clock until she texts back, curling up and not wanting to do anything. It shuts you down. It makes you feel stuck. Stopping reaching out because you don't know what to say. Burying a dream because embarrassment makes you go quiet, shrinking, waiting, disappearing a little at a time. Behaviors from abundance story, your thought feeling combo, could look like this: making the call, signing up for the thing, telling someone what you actually want, taking one step, even scared, reaching out with warmth instead of fear. So your mindset shift is before, I can't make myself do anything, or I'm going to willpower my way through it, to, of course I couldn't. Look at what I was thinking and feeling. Now let's change that. So here's your practical take home tip. What have I been doing or not doing because of your story? Write it down, honestly, no judgment, just information. So look at the thought you circled, the feeling you were having, and then write down what's happening because of that thought feeling combo. Okay, so this leads, your behaviors lead to your reality, your results. And your reality is just what's happening right now in your life. And it always connects back directly to your thought. Isn't that interesting? I'll say that one more time. Your reality, your results always connect directly back to your thought. And here's the part that's going to set you completely free or scare you a little, or maybe both. Your reality is a direct result of your thought. It always connects right back to your thought because thoughts create feelings. Feelings drives behavior and actions create results. Results become your reality. So back to my story. My reality was I was living inside that painful story. I was disregarding myself, putting myself aside, and not creating anything else in my own life. And here's the thing that hit me hard. I was doing to myself exactly what I thought my daughter had done to me. It always connects back. The thought, she disregarded me, and then I disregarded me. The story I was telling because the life I was living. You might recognize the reality in some of these. You've been drifting further from your adult kids and don't know why. You haven't pursued one thing that's just yours in years. You feel comfortable, but not alive. You keep saying someday, and someday never comes. But here's the good news. Since your thoughts create your reality, and you are the one in charge of your thoughts, you get to choose your reality. This is not a pep talk. This is mechanics. A different thought would have created a different feeling. A different feeling would have created a different behavior, different actions, and a different actions and behavior would have built a different reality. So before, my life is just what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. To after, my life is what I've been thinking, and I get to choose something different. Okay, go back to your paper. Look at the reality of what you've been creating. Ask yourself, what thought has been running the show? Is that thought what you want driving your next chapter? So here's what I want you to see when you first learn this. And honestly, it happened to me too. You learn all 5 parts of the model and you immediately think, okay, I just need to change my reality, or I just need to change my behaviors, or what do I need to do? Or the classic one, I just need to change my circumstances. Everything will be better if my daughter just called more, or if this person changed, or if I had more to do, or if my life looked different on the outside. But the model keeps showing us the only thing that actually needs to change is your thought, because your thought is where it all starts. Change that thought and the feeling shifts, and the behavior changes, and the behavior changes and the reality, the results follow. You don't have to muscle your way through all 5 parts. Just go back to the thought. Question it. Get curious about it. Ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Is it actually true? Am I choosing this? You don't have to leap straight to a positive thought if it feels fake. Sometimes just getting neutral is enough. And just loosening that grip, asking those questions a little bit, and that door will open. And here's the other thing. You can start anywhere in the model when you're working on this. Sometimes you aren't conscious of what you're thinking, but you do know how you feel. So start there. How do you want to feel? Excited, motivated, connected, ready, confident, and then work backwards. Okay, what would you have to think in order to feel that way naturally, right? Or start with the reality. If you want a close relationship with your adult daughter, ask, what do I need to believe in order to create that? And remember that relationship only lives in your mind. It's not about what she's thinking. It's about what you are thinking about her. So work backwards from the reality you want. Find the thought that would lead to that reality. Everything else follows. It's not wishful thinking. That's the model that works exactly the way it's supposed to. In closing, here's a recap. Facts and circumstances are neutral. They're not your problem. Your thoughts are the story your brain writes about those facts. And your brain will protect that story fiercely. It wants to be right more than it wants to feel better. So your feelings are created by your thoughts, not your circumstances. And they're completely safe to feel all the way through. Think about that beach ball. Your behaviors are always downstream of how you feel, which is always downstream of what you're thinking. And your reality is a direct reflection of your thoughts. And that means you have more power here than you've ever given yourself credit for. Let me say that one more time. That means you have more power here than you've ever given yourself credit for. So that's why I say all problems are thought problems. That's not me minimizing what you're going through. That's me telling you that the solution is closer than you think, and it lives in your own mind, and you can get there. Okay, before I wrap up, I want to take these practical take-home tips and put them all together. Get out that piece of paper, write down the 5 parts of the model: circumstances, facts, thoughts, feelings, behaviors and actions, and your reality results. Write down the fact as factly as possible. A number, what someone said, write it down. Then write down what you think about that fact. Write down how you feel, and write down what you have been doing because of it or not doing because of it. And then write down the reality that it's been creating. You can absolutely do this on your own. It works. And if you want help opening up your mind to the possibility that your best is truly yet to come, sign up for a Next Chapter Jumpstart call at marianneiverson.com/call. That's Marianne with an I and an E on the end. And we will work through it together. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next week. Go create your best empty nest.
If this felt familiar, you're not alone. I created a short quiz, Who Am I, after the kids leave. It helps you name what actually is going on for you in this season and what you might need next. You'll find the link in the description. And if you want more conversations like this, you could subscribe. I'm here every week.